Okay, let's see dryland farming. Average rainfall in India is 118 centimeters, which would lead to us believing that India is a wet country. But actually, there are temporal variations. That is, 80% of the rainfall occurs in only 4 months, and spatial area variation. 3/4 of the area is arid and semi-arid. Therefore, India has a lot of dryness. So the irrigation, the ultimate potential is 140 million hectares according to current technological levels, and the established irrigation levels are 110 million hectares. Therefore, only further scope for improvement is 10 to 15 million hectares. Therefore, irrigation cannot solve the dryness problem of the country. Some issues with irrigation are current tech levels, ecological issues, displacement of tribes, river regime impacted, and river sharing disputes like between Kerala and Karnataka and Tamil Nadu. Now coming to dryland farming, it is a farming in dry areas which are rain fed and do not have any irrigation. Therefore, Punjab and Marathwada, though they are dry, but they have irrigation. Therefore, they do not come under dryland farming. So the dryland farming regions are Ladakh, Malwa, Bundelkhand over here, Western Rajasthan, Kutch region, Vidarbha region, Telangana, Rayalaseema region, and Tamil Nadu uplands region. So what is the significance of the dryland farming? They contribute to 40% of food grains. 60% BPL farmers are here. 60% of pulses, millets, and oilseeds come from here. Cotton, tobacco, livestock, poultry are also very high in these regions. So what are the solutions? There are two types of problems. Initially, water problem and low productivity. To solve the water problem, we need to do two things: water management and technology farming. Under water management, we need to do more rainwater harvesting and micro irrigation. For technological farming, we need to bring drought resistant crops, conservation agriculture, mixed farming, and reduce land degradation. To address the low productivity region, we need to give alternate livelihood. For example, Manrega gives employment, and Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana gives insurance, and Garib Kalyan Anna Yojana gives the food security, and National Mission on Sustainable Agriculture, which will lead to solve the low productivity issues. So this is the dryland farming. Next, we're going to the green revolution. So during 1950s, India had low production and low productivity. Combine this with famines and droughts and the policy of import substitution. This led to India being a begging ball, and this led to no food security. Begging ball is no country was ready to export food to India because India had the policy of import substitution. So Mexico had a similar situation in 1940s, but Dr. Norman Bowl, he gave high yielding variety wheats, and by 1956 Mexico emerged as a net exporter of food grains. So the term green revolution was actually given by William S. Gadd. So HIV launched in India. 1963 and 64 were continuous drought and famine years. So HIV was launched in 1966, which led to yield in 67 being 25% higher than 66. Therefore, HIV was a success. So mainly in this region, Punjab, Haryana, Western Uttar Pradesh, wheat, and Tamil Nadu, coastal Andhra Pradesh, and Tamil Nadu region, rice was done. So we can compare 1950 to now. The production increased from 60 to 300 metric tons, and productivity kilo per hectare from 550 to 3400 has increased. Now, the to increase the further increase production further, we can do two things. We can either increase area or increase the productivity. Area net zone area is already 43%, which versus world average of 32%. Therefore, this is already high. So therefore, this should not be done. Rather, increase productivity should be increased, which is low in India. Some factors impacting the green revolution. We have physical factors like relief, climate, soil, infrastructure factors like road, storage, credit, market, irrigation, power, institutional factors like land rights and land reforms, technological factors like high yielding variety seeds, fertilizers, pesticides, etc. So first, let's see high yielding variety seeds. So if there is a short maturing period, then we can introduce double cropping. These can be more responsive to the chemical fertilizers. They have short stem, therefore they are much wind resistant. They have large leaf, which will lead to more photosynthesis. So HIV seeds are called as a modernizers of agriculture. Through wheat in 60s in Punjab, Haryana, Western Uttar Pradesh, and rice in 1970s in Andhra Pradesh and Tamil Nadu. Dantawala committee called HIV said that HIV seeds stimulated investments in agriculture for inputs. The next thing is irrigation. So this makes production more stable and more production, and it is necessary for green revolution because of erratic monsoons and no water harvesting done in India. Also, this will lead to the problem of over exploitation, which will lead to groundwater depletion. Fertilizers, government gave subsidies, because of which India became the third largest consumer, but per hectare fertilizer application is still low. But compared to non-green revolution areas, fertilizer application is more in green revolution areas. Pesticides and insecticides, because of monocropping of rice and wheat, disease and pest attacks increased. Therefore, there's a need to apply insecticides and pesticides. Next one is the command area development program. First, understand what is a river basin. Command area. River basin is the area drained by rivers and its tributaries, whereas a command area is the area irrigated by an irrigation project. So, what is necessary for CADP to bridge the gap between irrigation potential created and active utilization? So, there is a huge gap between these. So, why is this gap there? Because of the infrastructure issues like leakages, water availability in stream, and poor socio-economic conditions of the farmer. So, irrigation led to unsustainable agriculture like cultivating water intensive crops in dry lands, for example sugarcane. So the solution is to follow the agroclimatic planning. For example, in Marathwada, cropping pattern is not according to the agroclimatic regionalization. This led to crop failure, this led to distress, and this led to farmer suicide. To solve all this, we should follow agroclimatic regionalization. So what are the components of CADP? First one is agroclimatic planning. Next, we have to integrate management of groundwater and surface water and drainage system and irrigation system. These must be integrated. Next, land reforms. Also, on-farm development like soil survey, field channels or drains, farm roads, realigning farm boundary with contour lines, and extension services must be done. Formal credit, we have the issues with because of lack of formal credit like high interest rates, leading to more distress, and loans based on social status like loans are not given to lower caste people. So the government solution is to introduce cooperatives, self-help groups, regional rural banks, and priority sector lending targets for banks. Next one is agriculture marketing. The issues are distress sales and middleman exploitation. The government solution is to improve infrastructure like road connectivity and internet connectivity, enam the online marketplace, and the improving storage infrastructure. Next, R&D, agriculture universities, farmer scientist connects. There are some schemes with respect to this, helpline numbers and ICR, etc. These all lead to more research and development. Now, coming to the impact of green revolution, the broad impact is about socio-economic status and ecological impact. This is negative, this is positive. So the ways of life have changed because of the green revolution. Now, the production productivity, we already seen this. This has both have increased. Now diffusion from the heartlands, wheat diffused from this main heartland area in 1960s to these areas, and rise from this to this area. So this led to not following the agroclimatic planning, rather monocropping has increased. So only large farmers benefited from the GR because GR needs costly inputs. So small farmers, because of the uneconomical land holdings, they cannot afford this. So GR also led to industrial growth in three ways. First way is to for directly for agriculture inputs like fertilizers and tractors. Second, through agro industries like sugarcane and cotton. And thirdly, green revolution led to more income, therefore more demand, therefore more industrialization. Next, green revolution led to food security. Initially, India was a begging bowl, as I was saying, due to the policy of import substitution and no productivity. Now we are food secure due to increase in productivity and production. Next, it led to more employments and incomes because of on-farm employment, extension and allied services, agro industries, and agro experts. So the impact of green revolution can be summarized as broad impact as economic and ecological, production and productivity, monoculture, large farmer benefited, and industrial growth, food security, and more employment. So next we have the challenges of green revolution. First we have socio-economic challenges, which are disparities both inter-regional and inter-regional. Inter-regional, we have seen these areas due to wheat they developed much higher, and these areas because of the rice developed much higher. So compared to other regions, they have developed much. Inter-regional, because of the large farmer versus small farmer, this led to inter-regional disparities. Next, imbalanced cropping pattern, monocropping because of rice and wheat. Food grains are more, and millets, pulses, oilseeds are less. Milk and horticulture was ignored. Because of this, nutritional security came down in India. So also this does not follow the agroclimatic planning. Next, agriculture contribution to GDP has become stagnant since 1990s. This is not because agriculture has not grown. Agriculture has grown, but it is just that other sectors they have grown much faster. Next, we have the ecological challenges, which are unsustainable irrigation practices. For example, Punjab government gave free electricity for the uh, irrigation. This led to practice of flood farming even in the dry areas. This led to water ground levels falling, and this led to increasing salinity and alkalinity. Also, decline in forest area, for example, 5% in Punjab, and pollution increased, both all land pollution, water pollution, air pollution. Water pollution led to eutrophication in the lakes and all. And next we have the way forward for the green revolution is second green revolution or evergreen revolution. Green revolution is actually a success because the goal was to in 1960s and 67 to achieve food security, which it did. But the issue is that it was not modified very quickly to suit the present reality, which led to the socio-economic and ecological challenges. Therefore, evergreen revolution is a green revolution, which is ecologically friendly. So how should this be? What are the elements of this? First one, there should be agroclimatic planning. Therefore, crops should be as per the climate of the region. Next, precision farming, which is popularized in USA. We should give inputs at right time and right amount, like water, fertilizer, seeds, water, fertilizer, pesticides, etc. Next, satellite farming, use of satellite data and smart centers to know when to give the inputs. And crop diversification, to grow different crops in a region and over a particular season and over different seasons. And balanced regional development, focus on northeast, east, central and west India, which did not benefit much during the green revolution one, and focus on the small farmers. So this will address the inter-regional disparities, and this will address the inter-regional disparity. Zero budget natural farming, we have to spend zero on the input, and we have to use nature based farming solutions. This is being done in Karnataka and AP. Next, focus on allied activities like livestock, aquaculture, horticulture, sericulture and dairy farming. And finally, climate smart agriculture, because of the climate change, the sea levels will be rising, temperatures will be rising, because of which water stress will also increase, extreme weather events will become more common, and monsoons will variability will increase. So to deal with all this, we have to follow the steps like micro irrigation, water harvesting, hydroponics and drought resistant seeds.